So in a recent video, I rounded up 8 different Craigslist ads that were selling PCs, and I basically gave them a letter grade based on how good or how bad of an offer they were. And at the end of that video, I told you guys that I would take the best offer, the one that had the best deal and the best savings, and actually reach out to the seller to try to buy the PC. Well, I'm excited to let you guys know that I'm actually on my way to meet with the Craigslist seller of the PC that had the best offer. It's a custom build that he put together himself with a Core i7 8700K and a Zotac GTX 1080 amp. So it's obviously a little dated, a few generations old, but if it's in good condition, I have no doubt that it can still run some serious games at 1080p at the very least, and maybe even crunch out some 1440p gaming as well. But we'll take a closer look at the build once I get it back into the studio. We'll take a close-up look to see what kind of condition it's in, if there's any room for improvement. First of all, if it's working properly or working at all. And then once that's confirmed, I'm gonna start looking at the PC to see if there's any adjustments that can be made, any improvements, any way that we can add value to it to make it more appealing on the secondhand market, making any of those improvements, and finally putting it back on Craigslist to see if we can sell it for more than what I paid for it. Okay, I've arrived at the designated meetup spot. I'm here a little early. I'm about 15 minutes early. He's not here yet, obviously. And we decided to meet at this coffee shop. I don't really drink coffee, but I've got some time to kill. So, yeah. Oh, that's hot. That's right, coffee's hot. You know what that tastes like? Coffee. Okay, I got the Craigslist PC right here, and actually the seller has been kind enough to be my videographer for this moment. So I'm gonna check it out really quick. Not that I don't trust you or anything, but you know, as they say in the industry, trust but verify. So, very nice H510 case here. All right. It actually looks nicer in person than it does in the ad. It's all the Craigslist compression. All right, what am I doing? Oh yeah, it's only this guy right here. Very nice. Okay, with the NHD15. Connectors are plugged in. It's already better than the Walmart PC. Got two 120s at the front here. Oh, you actually got one of those Fantex LED strips at the top. I didn't notice that. That's fancy. Looks good. I don't see any immediate red flags. I think we're good to go. All right, then let's bring this guy back to the studio. Before we continue, this video is brought to you by Hetzner. Hetzner is a hosting provider and data center operator that offers high-performance cloud servers for a super competitive price-to-performance ratio and no minimum contract term. Their web interface Cloud Console can be used to create cloud servers quickly and easily, and they're ready to go just seconds after creating them. You can use their interface for a variety of features such as block storage, load balancers, private networks, a CLI tool, and an API for developers. You can also add or remove their cloud servers and features at any time with ease. Hetzner owns data center parks in Germany and Finland, but now they have a US location. Their cloud data center in Ashburn, Virginia is now open for a wide range of applications, so check them out in the link below and use code BITWIT22 in the Cloud Console for 20 bucks off. All right, let's take a closer look. It's actually in really good condition. There's a little bit of like dirt, kind of like some smeared like dirt stains here, but I'm pretty sure that'll rub off pretty easily. And then there's actually like no dings or scratches or scuffs that I can see, which is really surprising for a white case especially. So it definitely seems like this guy took care of his rig so far. Inside we have the GPU with a little bit of sag. Maybe we could fix that if we could find a super cheap bracket or something like that. It's fairly dusty in here. It's not the worst I've seen by far, but you can just tell there's some dust caked onto those fan blades at the front. Definitely some dust buildup on our CPU cooler fans. Nothing we can't fix with a quick data vac sesh. Is it hanging down? It's hanging down a little bit right there. So we'll have to reapply some adhesive. And then motherboard's kind of hard to see. Actually, I'm just probably gonna take most of this PC apart so I can deep clean everything and then put it all back together. Plus, I'm pretty sure we need a reapplication of thermal interface material on the CPU. Hard to say if he ever reapplied that periodically, but I would imagine not. And if he built this PC roughly 4 or 5 years ago, then it's definitely due for a reapplication. But why don't we take a look at the back side, see our cable management. A little nervous, should I be nervous? Life is like cable management. You never know what you're gonna get. All right. Hey, you know what? It's actually not bad. Not bad. Not the best I've seen, not the worst I've seen. Is that a temp sensor? Oh gosh, he's got a temp sensor back here. Why is he measuring the thermals of the back of the motherboard tray? Anyway, we have our power supply. Ooh, this is our first look at the power supply. EVGA 750 G5. Nice. Okay, he's got a 750 watt in here, but it's 80 plus gold. That's pretty good. And it is semi-modular unit. That's a fairly decent unit. I forgot to mention there's no drive in here. So as listed on the ad, this PC was supposed to include a 256 gig inland premium NVMe M.2 SSD. But when I reached out to him and told him that I wanted to pick it up today, he said that it would have to be a couple days until he could meet up because he would have to uninstall the drive, wipe it completely, and then reinstall it, and he was just super busy. But because I wanted the rig ASAP, and I didn't want to take the chance of, you know, some other seller coming in and offering him something more than I was, and then snatching it from me, I told him to just remove the drive and keep it. What I'm gonna have to do is just purchase another drive, the exact identical one, and then obviously install that into the system, load Windows up onto it, and all that stuff. There are some little tweaks and maybe upgrades that I want to make here. Now bear in mind, whatever parts I purchase for this build to kind of spice it up and make it a bit more appealing when it goes back onto Craigslist, I will add the cost of those parts to what I've paid for the build. What are we actually gonna change here? What needs to be changed? What can stay? I think for the most part, everything can stay, but I think for now, what I kind of wanna do, because the blue and yellow, I like it, but to make it more appealing to a wider audience, I think I wanna actually get some of the white tips. I'll go on Amazon, pick up some white rubber anti-vibration pads from the Noctua Chromax series, and I think I'm just gonna do white, because the case is white. White is just very color neutral. People don't have to worry about it clashing with whatever RGB color they wanna go with, and I think it'll just look a little cleaner overall. We also need to do the same thing for these guys, or maybe we'll just take them off and we'll just leave it black, and without anti-vibration pads. You don't really need vibration pads on that side of the fan anyway. And then if it's not too expensive, I'm kind of considering getting some cover plates, some heatsink cover plates for the NHD15. Noctua sells them, they're Chromex cover plates. They come in different colors and stuff. I might do that as well, just for aesthetics. And then of course, I gotta throw in like a $30 kit for sleeved cables, because these aren't cutting it for me. Honestly, I know none of this matters to the performance of the PC whatsoever. And yes, it is gonna cost me some dollars. That's gonna add to our total cost of this build. But I'm taking a gamble here with my theory that if the PC looks nicer, it'll sell for a higher price. And I'm gonna test that theory in this video. So I'm kind of interested to see how that goes. So we're gonna do that. We'll do the rubbers, we'll do the heatsink covers, and then a drive. A 256 gig SSD alone is not gonna cut it. Someone looking at that is gonna be like, psh, I can't even, what, are we gonna load like half of a game on there these days? So I think I'm gonna do like maybe just like a cheap 1 terabyte hard drive that we can stick in the bottom here. And then I think that should do it. But before I add up the total cost of all those things, let's make sure the PC works. All right, I got the power supply plugged in and turned on. You can see there's a little LED letting us know that we're getting power there. That's a good sign right off the bat. Also an LED on the GPU and on the motherboard as well. Let's see what happens when I press the power button. Well, the LEDs certainly work, as do the fans. Fans are spinning. Fans are spinning. Oh wait. Okay, this is because I unplugged that. That was me. I actually popped this off to see how much dust was behind the fan. I did that earlier off camera, so this was plugged in when I got it, but it's okay that it's not spinning right now. We're just idling. And look at that. Yay, we have posted. And we can also confirm right here, Asus ROG Strix Z370E Gaming. We have the 8700K and 32 gigs of RAM. Okay, good, he didn't scam us. All right, I think we're ready to see how much all those add-on parts are gonna cost me. All right, here we go. So we got our 1 terabyte hard drive. It's a Toshiba 5700 RPM. I don't care, it's cheap. $30 there. We have the anti-vibration pads for our Noctua fans. That's gonna be $7 for a pack of 16. And then we also have the heatsink covers for the NHD15 at $30. A little pricey for that cosmetic touch, but I think it's gonna go a long way. I think it's gonna look a lot nicer than the bare heatsinks. And then finally, we have the sleeved extension kit from Cometh, which I have never purchased from before, but it was about $10 cheaper than most of the other comparable sleeved cable options out there. That's gonna give our total to about $96.17. That's with tax. And that brings my total cost of this build to roughly $1,100. We'll just call it an even $1,100 to make things easy. I'm gonna have to sell it for more than that in order to turn a profit on this build. But for now, I guess what we can do is clean it. Let's go ahead and take this thing apart. I'm gonna reapply thermal paste and all that stuff. And once all those parts arrive, I will reassemble the build, create a Craigslist ad for this PC, and figure out what exactly I'm gonna sell it for. But for now, let's do a little teardown and cleaning. All right, the PC is complete. All of the new parts came in and it's looking really good. The NHD15 looks a bit more high-end now with that new Chromax kit. But I did make a mistake when ordering the rubber corners, the anti-vibration pads. I initially got these, which are just for standard 120 and 140 millimeter fans, but these fans are different. They have the more elongated corners on them. So I actually had to buy these separately. While I was building the system, I was like, oh crap. So these finally came in. I added these after the fact, but it's all looking good now. Sleeved cables, RGB, it's looking good. But we are running into one technical difficulty here, and I believe that's with the motherboard, because when I went to go install Windows on the new SSD, I noticed that the system wasn't really booting properly. Let me show you what I mean. So right here, it's clearing post and stuff, but once I go into the BIOS, let's see if it'll actually watch. It's gonna be working perfectly now. That's how it always is. As soon as I start recording, it looks like the SSD is showing up here, the Inland Precision SSD, but before it wasn't. So let me try recreating this here. Just sometimes it'll show up and it'll boot into Windows fine. Other times it crashes before it gets into Windows, and other times the drive isn't recognized at all in the BIOS. It's just been very finicky. I already tried clearing the CMOS, I tried different RAM, and sometimes it gets stuck on this screen as well. I don't know if it'll get stuck here. Actually, yeah, I think it gets stuck at the BIOS screen. Okay, so that's another thing that it's doing. It's doing all kinds of weird things. It's behaving oddly, and I believe it's the motherboard. I've kind of narrowed it down at this point. I spent a good hour and a half just troubleshooting it, trying to figure out what was wrong. Now I could spend more time trying to figure out what's wrong with this board, try to get it working, but I've honestly exhausted a lot of the possibilities that I could think of, and I've already spent a lot more time on this than I really want to. I think at this point, I'm probably just gonna swap the board for another Z370 board that I have on hand, like this Prime Z370A right here, which is gonna be good for whoever buys this PC because it's actually a brand new board. Well, it's not used. It's not a used board. It's just kind of been sitting here in this box for God knows how long. I'll just have to notify whoever's interested in buying this PC that the board's been swapped out for a different model, but it's brand new. So hopefully that won't be an issue for them. I don't think the Craigslist seller who sold me this PC necessarily tried to scam me or anything. I don't think he was aware that there was anything wrong with the board. But that also begs the question, if the board was working perfectly fine for him, why is it giving me issues now? The only thing we've really changed here are the drives, and I can't imagine that's what's causing all of these issues. Let me try seeing one more time what happens if we reboot it again. Okay, we're getting the BIOS screen. If I hit delete, okay, it's going to the BIOS this time. And look at that, no drives. Drives are not recognized. The SSD. I don't know why I keep saying drives, because I unplugged the Toshiba hard drive because I just wanted to minimize, potential issues or complications. It's not recognizing the SSD anymore. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Every time I boot it, it's like a different thing, but it usually cycles between the same 3 or 4 issues, whether it's freezing or not recognizing the drive. So at this point, I think I'm just gonna have to swap it out for the new board and hope that fixes the issue. All right, motherboard has been installed, and it actually looks better in this system than the last board because it actually has some big beefy wide accents over the I/O area, and apart from that, the system looks more or less the same. But did that fix the issue? We're about to find out. Please. Oh, I should probably plug in the freaking video cable. Oh my God. I've been so nervous about this working or not that I totally forgot to do this. Huh? Oh? No signal detected. No, wait, no, okay. Maybe it's because maybe I need to reboot. Let's just do that. Just sometimes when you plug in the DisplayPort cable or a video cable after you boot, it doesn't always feed the signal through. So you gotta reboot. That's all this is. Aha, okay. Got a splash screen. Splash screen's good. Wait, so maybe it's not the board. It froze again. It's not the board. It's not the board. It's not the board. It's not the board. Okay, so what the heck? What the who heck and hooky whack? Huh. So, okay, let me spend some more time with this. Even more stupid time on this stupid build. Getting annoying. All right, I'll be right back. Hopefully with a working system. Okay, I got the build working. Dun 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 dun. And the issue was not the motherboard, in fact. It was actually the SSD. The brand new, straight out of the box, Inland Professional, or is it Professional or Precision? Wait, I thought it was Precision. Okay, it's Professional. I've been calling it Precision this entire time throughout this video because I can't read. But at any rate, it was the SSD. As soon as I popped this out, and this is weird because I actually swapped it out for a different drive. Initially, that was one of my troubleshooting steps right from the get-go, and it was still giving me issues. But then I tried a different drive, and then it's flawless. It's absolutely flawless. So right now there's a 500 gig Crucial P5 PCIe Gen 3 NVMe M.2 SSD that's mounted right between the massive cooler and the GPU. It's not focusing because it's way in there, but you can kind of see it. It's a little fuzzy. But that's got Windows 10 loaded up onto it, and it's been working phenomenally ever since. I don't know exactly what's wrong with this SSD or why it's giving me issues, or even why the other SSD that I tried was giving me issues, which was also a Crucial P5. Honestly, I have to spend so much time trying to figure out what's going on with these SSDs that it would warrant a whole other video, so I'm not gonna get into it right now. The point is that the system is working. Thank God it's working. I already made the Craigslist ad, which I'll show you in just a sec, but a couple more things I wanted to mention about this system that I forgot to mention earlier. So with the new motherboard, one compromise that I had to make here, there's actually two compromises. One is that there's no Wi-Fi. There was Wi-Fi on the previous board, that ROG Strix board, no Wi-Fi on this guy. So whatever seller contacts me and is interested in buying it, I'm gonna be completely upfront and be like, hey, there's been some slight changes to the system. The motherboard's different, it doesn't have Wi-Fi. Obviously, the reason why I'm not including that in the Craigslist ad is because I wanna see if I can sell this PC the way that I intended to, with the upgraded parts and the original parts from when I first bought it. If I start swapping things out, it kind of changes the game. It changes the narrative of me trying to flip this PC in the most fair way possible. So, but I am gonna be completely transparent with whoever's interested in buying it. The other compromise, and this one's not as big, but there's no digital RGB header. There's no digital 3-pin 5-volt RGB header on this board, so I wasn't able to plug in the Fantex neon lighting strip. So that's why it's not on right now. Again, I'll notify the buyer of that as well before he decides to pull the trigger. And then I think that's pretty much it for the most part. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I did fix the GPU. There's a little bit of GPU sag. I just took a piece of PET tubing, cut it to size. You can kind of see it right there. It's see-through, obviously, so it's a little difficult to see. But it's doing its thing. It's actually very discreet because it is see-through, so you don't really notice it unless you're looking for it or know it's there. Yeah, why don't we talk about the system really quick and how it's performing. Just a really quick at-a-glance look at some afterburner figures here. GPU's doing well at 72C. Maybe I should put the side panel on. Actually, I'm surprised the GPU only went up 1 degree. I had it like this for about 15 minutes with the side panel on, and it was chilling at 71C. CPU is at 57C, very nice, about 70 to 80% utilization. We're eating up about 10 gigs of RAM. Good thing we have 32 gigs on board there. And frame rates, we're at 1080p right now in Halo Infinite. This is a pretty demanding game, honestly. I believe it's on medium, a blend of medium to high settings, or I think it's just actually on medium, mostly medium, but we're getting around between 60 and 70 FPS. Sometimes it dips below 60, but I was running around this map and stuff. I'm actually in the campaign right now. I was running around this environment and I was definitely getting over 60 FPS on average, even though we were dipping below 50 on occasion. So it's looking really good. Performance numbers are there. Temps are looking good. Let me show you the Craigslist ad. So this is my ad. This is my pretty little ad. I spent lots of time on it. So super clean gaming PC, Core i7-8700K, GTX 1080, $1,200. I'm selling it for $1,200. Remember, I spent about $1,100 on this thing so far with all the add-on parts and upgrades and whatnot. So if I do sell it for this price, I'll be making 100 buckaroos on this flip, assuming that someone buys it. If no one buys it, then I don't know how this video is gonna end. But anyway, look at my pictures. Look at my pictures. Aren't they nice? Nice pictures. But although leave it to Craigslist compression to make my $6,000 camera look like it was taken from a crappy phone from 10 years ago. But those are the pictures, and then this is what I put in the ad. All the specs, you already know those. Excellent condition, recently taken apart, each component deep clean, sanitized and reassembled, thermal interface material reapplied, clean install of Windows 10, all drivers up to date, plug and play, install your games, go. Only available until December 25th. We'll be giving the PC to my friend if it doesn't sell by then, so it's going fast either way. That is completely false. I just put that there to put a fire under people's asses so they call me quickly. At this point, I've pretty much done all I needed to do for this little project slash experiment of mine, so I guess at this point, the only thing I could really do is wait. So I have failed miserably at flipping this PC. It's been 2 months since I originally listed it on Craigslist, and I wasn't getting any bites. So after about a month, I switched over to trying OfferUp, and still nothing. For the first 2 weeks, nothing. Actually, there were a couple people who said that they were down to come pick it up. They were in the area, they had the money ready, and they all fell through. There were like 2 or 3 people that just never came through for whatever reason. They kind of just ghosted me. And so I eventually dropped the price down to $1,000, which is a pretty hefty loss, but I was pretty desperate at that point. And still nothing. A few more kind of so-so wishy-washy people came through, but nothing concrete. And now I'm sort of at the end of my rope. So what I've decided to do is list it on eBay, because that'll greatly increase the number of people who are viewing the listing, because it's not just local anymore. I'm opening it up to anywhere in the States. Starting bid's gonna be stupidly low, just to get people to actually bite on this. And at this point, I'm just more curious to see what people think it's worth. Am I gonna get 500 bucks out of it? 800 bucks? Maybe it'll shoot up to 1,000, maybe even 1,300 if we're really lucky, again, since we're casting a wider net now. But I've already gone ahead and made the eBay listing. The starting bid is at $420 for the lulz. Shipping is $50 flat, that's on the buyer. Got all the specs in here. My only concern here is that this is a burner eBay account, and so there's no like reviews on my account. That alone is gonna turn off a lot of people. I'm hoping that the low starting bid price is enough to encourage some people to actually bid on it, and I did open it up. I did let them know to ask me questions if, you know, it makes them feel more comfortable, if they want to see some verification that, you know, I really do own this PC and stuff. But it should be really interesting to see what we get out of this. I've already accepted the fact that I'm probably going to take a heavy loss on this rig. I am really just curious to see what I get for it, if anything. This video might just end with me not even being able to sell the PC. A little frustrated at this point. This is my last hurrah, my Hail Mary, so to speak, and I will be updating you guys soon. Now, instead of wasting my money on this Craigslist PC, maybe I should have spent it on something better, like the Corsair K70 RGB Pro. It features Axon hyper-processing technology for lightning-fast inputs, linear mechanical switches, PBT double-shot Pro keycaps, IQ integration, and more. For more info on the Corsair K70 RGB Pro, click the link in the description below. All right, the auction is over. After an intense 5-day-long bidding war, the top bidder won the PC for $760. That was the top bid. That's not very good. They are paying $50 flat for shipping, which brings it up to $810. Of course, I'm gonna have to deduct whatever I pay for shipping from that figure, but let's just say for the sake of argument, to make it easy, $810 that I made back on this PC. I spent $1,100, just shy of $1,100 on it, with the cosmetic upgrades and that sort of thing. And I guess that gives me a net loss of $290. I'm down $290, guys. I'm down $290. I'm gonna keep my day job as a tech YouTuber, because clearly flipping PCs, I'm just not cut out for it. Obviously, this was my very first attempt at trying to flip a PC, and it was a hot, steaming pile of fail. But you know, I've learned some things. I've learned some things from this video, at the very least. Some takeaways that I have after doing this is that the cosmetic upgrades were not really a worthwhile investment at the end of the day. The Chromax kit and the cable sleeving, I could have done without those things. I should have just cleaned up the system, made it look a little nicer. Those things cost me an extra, what, $100? I didn't really see any ROI. I think I might have gotten more eyeballs on my listings because the system looked nice, but that didn't really translate to any real legitimate offers for what I was asking. In fact, the $760, or I guess in total $810 that I'm getting now through eBay from the seller, or the buyer, is pretty equivalent to some of the lowball offers I was receiving on OfferUp and Craigslist, which definitely stings a little bit. I was hoping for a little bit more, but whatever. The other takeaway is timing is everything. The fact that GPU prices have been declining steadily since the time I bought the PC initially back in December of last year, I think a lot of people are looking at that and going, well, maybe I shouldn't pull the trigger on a used system right now. I'm not gonna spend a lot of money right now on a PC like this, because I wanna wait and see if GPU prices continue dropping. If that trend continues, then maybe now's not the time to strike. And of course, seller credibility. The fact that I didn't have any sort of seller history or reviews or ratings on my eBay account or my OfferUp account, I think definitely hurts me. People are less likely to make a bid or an offer. I may have to find a way to bump that up for the next time I do this, because I definitely do want to try my hand at flipping a PC again. I feel like I can only go up from here. This was such a miserable fail that there's got to be hope. There's got to be a better way to do this. I'm still figuring this out, and just for fun. Obviously, I'm not trying to make any real side change here. It's just for the lulz and for the experience. And it's kind of fun. It is kind of fun. I do enjoy like fixing PCs up and stuff like that. that. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions on how I can improve my PC flipping side project here, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. You guys always have much better ideas than I do, and I'm sure there's something glaringly obvious that I could be doing here to improve my chances at actually selling one of these things for a profit eventually. So like I said, stay tuned for a part 2, or I guess not really a part 2, but when I try to do this again, hopefully that'll happen soon. I'll be looking at the markets, the secondhand markets and stuff, to see if there's anything juicy out there that has potential for making a bit of profit, so I can hopefully make up some of those losses that I experienced in this video. I'm bummed out that this video didn't have a happier ending, a more profitable ending, but you live and you learn, I guess. So that's all for this one, guys. Thank you for watching. Toss a like on it if you enjoyed it. Get subscribed for more tech content coming at you really soon, and I'll see y'all in the next video.